Greetings, Cannabis Friends. My name is Al Marenton,
And I'm Megan Hall.
and we are the hosts of Cannabis Friends and 420 Buds. How you doing today,
I'm
Megan?
doing great. I'm very excited for today's video.
Awesome. So what Megan's talking about is today's subject is chronic pain. So it's a huge factor in today's world. About 25% of the population in the United States has chronic pain. So we're going to talk about what it is, the causes of it, symptoms, and of course, like how the Feco or RSO can help you to overcome and manage the symptoms, like to where you could either minimize them greatly or get rid of them altogether.
I love that, Al. And before we kick things off, can we start with a case study where someone has used Movida oils to help them with their chronic pain?
Yeah, for sure. So there's one gentleman that comes to mind. He's over in Houston, Texas. He's a good friend of mine, actually. I went to high school with him, and I met up with him a few years back for breakfast. He flew out to California to come see me, and he mentioned that he had been having some problems, health issues, and pain and other things going on. And I just, like I tell everybody, you need to take our stuff, and I could help you out. And but I didn't think anything of it, but he did contact me, and he went over what's going on with him, and he was in a pretty good accident that messed up his neck,
Car accident?
and he had like developed chronic pain from that. And he has a job where he's at the computer all the time, and he has to lean forward and speak into this microphone and do all this different stuff. And so he developed like low back pain, and then the neck pain got worse, and he had shoulder pain, and he started getting these neuropathies, like just a bunch of different things going on, just like a compounding effect, from the original injury. And I found out later that he was doing anywhere from 15 to 20 plus Advil or Excedrin per day just to like live with the pain. It was still unbearable, but he was able to live with it because he didn't want to get addicted to opioids, right? So, which was smart of him. And long story short, he went on the protocol, and he didn't change his diet really at that point. He only been on it for 3 days. Okay,
Okay.
after 3 days, and he had this for decades, right? Had gone to physical therapists, dietitians, pain doctors, specialists. He's very successful, so he has access to everything. Spent literally tens of thousands of dollars to put, throwing money at his issues with zero success. After 3 days, I received a text message saying, "Are you friggin' kidding me? Like it's been 3 days, and I only had to take 6 Advil today. It was like the evening time,
Right.
and I only took 6 Advil today. I usually take 15 to 20 plus. And that's when I found out he was doing that much, and he goes, I only had to take 6. I believe that if I continue on this road, I won't have to take any. And that's what happened. He didn't have to take any after that, and his whole life changed around. But I want to get into the presentation,
Sure.
but that's a good example
Great
of
example.
how he was able to get off of the stuff. He was able to overcome his situation, and then he was able to come off the stuff that was actually contributing to making his overall health
Right.
worse. Being the Advil, the Excedrin, and a number of other things he was doing on top of it. And he was also, going into stress, depression, anxiety because of it. So he was drinking, he was smoking, and now he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke anymore, etc. So it's really cool.
It's beautiful because people can take their power back, and he did that. That's a great case study to start us off with. Okay, so let's backtrack. Can we start this off with what is chronic pain?
Okay, yeah. So I made a little uh, slide here, and chronic pain. So there's pain, and there's different levels of pain. Acute pain, which is really hardcore pain, and all the way down to minimal pain. And chronic pain doesn't have to be hardcore acute pain. It's usually like enough to bother you, right? But it could be like a level 4 or 5, whatever pain. Doesn't have to be a 10, but it does have to have been around for like 3 to 6 months. In other words, like you get injured, you have some kind of an issue go on, and there's pain that happens. It could be hardcore, it could be medium, minimal, but it happens for a period of time and then it goes away. That's not chronic pain. The chronic pain is something that lasts. Like it came on either because of something that happened or just out of the blue, and and it lasts, and it's not going away. So it just, so it, and like I said, it affects over 25% of the U.S. population, and it could lead to stress, anxiety, and depression.
Absolutely. What causes chronic pain? Can you dive into that a little bit deeper?
Yeah, so mainly the most common is injury, just like Bob, this other person we just mentioned with the case study. He had started out with a car accident. So injury, disease like cancer, and then unknown origin. That unknown origin is a big deal. And it's actually, we'll talk about it later, but I'll just mention it now. It's what I believe is a cannabinoid deficiency.
Okay.
Okay. But like things like examples of these things are arthritis or other joint problems, back pain, headaches, strains and sprains, and repetitive use injuries. Like checkers, cashiers get those little things going, the wrist guards going on, because they have the chronic pain from that, and there's no real cure for it. Fibromyalgia. Nerve damage, and broken bones, like injury kind of things. And then there's other issues like you mentioned, like gastrointestinal issues, like acid reflux, ulcers, uh, Crohn's disease,
Yeah.
things like that. And then with women, endometriosis is a big deal, and we could help a lot with that for sure.
Yeah.
And then surgery, that's a big deal too. So a lot of times people, they'll come out of surgery and they'll have this ghost pain that stays there. It doesn't go away for sometimes for their whole life. It's really interesting.
You also, yeah, we were talking before this video started, and you mentioned as you get older, based off of compensating for that chronic pain, it leads to more pain in other parts of the body. Can you elaborate on
Yeah. So just like with the case study that we had mentioned, he originally had neck pain, and then due to that original injury, and then also with his job having to lean forward and his neck leaning forward and stuff, the neck damage got worse. It didn't get better, and then he went into back pain,
that?
and then he started developing these neuropathies, which are like numbness and tingling that travels down like your arm, and it usually ends up in your fingertips, like usually in these two, or these two, or your thumb, and they're all like just it's like a downward spiral that sort of happens because when you have an injury, whether it's in your neck, or maybe your hip or your knee, you might, like if it's in your knee, you might walk a little bit different because of that. And especially if it's a chronic injury, so you're going to be compensating not just for like a month, but like for your
Yeah.
life, because it's a chronic pain, and it's not going away. So that compensation is forcing undue stress on other joints that weren't meant for that, right? So those joints will develop like overuse syndromes as well down the road, because they're being have undue stress being put on them, like every time you get up, every
Right.
time you walk, every time you do anything. So that could be your ankles, it could be your hips, it can be your low back, and then so it's like a chain of events that could happen.
Right.
So it'll start in one area, and then that whole chain from your low back to your hips to your ankles, to your feet, your toes, everything. Like a lot of people have foot problems these
Yep.
days, but yeah, like it's just a compounding kind of a thing that happens over time, and it happens, and it happens over time. So as you age, you just get like, oh, my back, my neck, my back, and my neck.
Right.
It's people think it's just part of aging, but it doesn't have to be.
Excellent answer. What are some of the symptoms of chronic pain?
Okay, so we said that it's pain and discomfort that lasts more than like 3 to 6 months, depending on which website you go to, like John Hopkins
Yeah.
or WebMD or whatever. So but it's basically constant or intermittent pain, and it can be all kinds of different ones, like your basic ones that you think of, like the stabbing pain, but it could also be like burning, shooting, stiffness, stinging, like squeezing kind of stuff. These are all like they're not technical terms per se, but these are just things that I hear from people, the way that they describe the pain, right?
Yeah.
So, and that might just ring a bell in other people that have chronic pain. But and then, as we mentioned earlier, it can lead to that anxiety, stress, depression, and even social isolation, because it's something that you just can't get rid of. You can't sit down, stand up, lay down, whatever, and make it go away. There's nothing that relieves it, and it just it interferes with your life. If somebody asks you if you want to go have fun, you have to think about your chronic pain, and if you're able to go have fun, and
Yeah.
that's so depressing.
Yeah.
And anybody that has a chronic condition, not just chronic pain, but any chronic condition, knows that's the anxiety and
Yeah.
depression that goes along with it. And
Yeah.
then if you're prescribed opioids to deal with the pain, you're done. You're gone. You're a goner.
And then you become dependent on that, just
Yeah,
to
yeah,
numb yourself
yeah.
out.
Opioid addiction is so rampant with chronic pain, and we've helped a ton of people to overcome that. Yeah, it's super awesome.
So you were saying, yeah, and I have a lot of people that I love so much that have suffered with chronic pain, and it's a silent killer. Like, you don't see them hurting, you can't physically see that they are in pain, so you forget. And then when you're out and about, and you're like, "Why are you in a bad mood or whatever?" And it's like, I'm hurting still. That never changed from you know years ago to now. It's like we always kind of neglect it if we don't see it, right? So you were saying how chronic pain leads to stress, anxiety, depression, and mental conflicts, and then they depend on opioids. Can we jump into how, I don't know, just we're going to get into medical protocol, but how, opioids is a mask, whereas Movida oils is a process where it actually helps you?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So the opioids, that's what they are meant to be. They mask the
Mm-hmm.
pain. So like you just it just like makes you not feel pain. That's what Vicodin is. That's what any painkillers, either over the counter or prescribed. That's what they're meant to do, and that could be dangerous because if you have a a knee that's hurt or an
Mm-hmm.
ankle that's hurt or a shoulder that's hurt and you're masking that pain, you
Excellent.
might
Thank
try
you.
to lift something or run and do something, and injure yourself even further, and really debilitate yourself.
Right.
So like masking pain, it gets rid of the pain, which is good for you. But if you don't remember that you have an injury, then you could hurt yourself even further, and that happens often. And then for people with chronic pain, where it's not going to go away, if they're taking these opioids all the time, they're just always masking it, and then they always end up injuring themselves worse. And then and like you said, they get the multiple injuries down the road. So the cannabinoids, and specifically CBD, THC does as well, but CBD has like it does have an analgesic effect, like, so it does have sort of a pain relieving, but not to where it masks. It can help reduce pain, and then there's other components in there as well that help it to actually heal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a component where it helps to um, with some analgesic effects, where there's some pain relieving. There's a huge amount of anti-inflammatory effects, so it helps to reduce the inflammation in the areas, but through proper communication, that we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
And then so actual healing could happen, and the person could not be in as much pain, and then sometimes not be in any pain afterwards, and then just be put on maintenance doses after they've overcome the condition.
Yeah.
So in other words, um, masking pain, which opioids and other things like Vicodin and Excedrin and stuff that do, is very dangerous. Those pills are very toxic. They're damaging to your liver, and there's a lot of side effects to them. And then you get like these dependencies on them with the Vicodin and the OxyContin and the other opioids and stuff like that. It's really detrimental to your overall just your life. It destroys that stuff. Like Megan was saying, she's seen her friends die, but along the way, their life gets destroyed.
Right.
It's like any drug addict,
Right.
right? So, because I've seen it personally as well, and it's horrible.
It is horrible.
So actually taking something that could relieve some pain, but you're gonna feel some things because you want to feel those because not to do them, and so you could actually let yourself heal, and then have the anti-inflammatory effects, and then have the actual healing effects, but because you have the endocannabinoid system that needs to be fed
Right.
with the cannabinoids, so that the actual healing that happens, so where you could overcome and then just go on a maintenance dose to maintain the results. That's golden right there, and that's why we're doing this whole presentation.
Absolutely. Can we dive into traditional medical protocol?
Yeah. So as far as like the success rate for the allopathic or medical and big pharma kind of approaches, there is no success. Okay, like literally none. But the traditional protocols are basically opioids, and then like addictive medications basically, and then surgery, and then more opioids after that because you just had surgery and you had the pain, and then more surgery after that, because that didn't hold, and then the cycle just goes on from there, and until the doctor takes you off the opioids and you start getting like illegal drugs.
Yes.
It's just crazy. So yeah, and then along the way, depending on how your insurance is and your financial situation, they might sprinkle in some like physical therapy, some occupational therapy, and even some psychiatric care, so they can get you on more medications, like diagnose you with syndromes and put you on, the antidepressants, and then give you the sleeping pills and then the energy pills along with the
Right.
opioids, and you're just done.
Right.
You're
Remember,
toast.
patient cured is a patient lost, is what I keep hearing when it comes to traditional doctor ensued medical protocol. So, Al, thank you for that. And I just want to say, too, like, I watched my mom go through this. And this is another testimonial that I'm proud to share is my mom had 2 back surgeries, and it involved a very rare disease called arterial malformation of the spine. And basically, her blood vessels got tangled up and a few of them busted, which luckily the doctors were able to help prevent uh, her from not being able to walk, but the level of pain and her having to be on a walker and heal and recover required pain medicine. And it was one of the reasons that I was able to meet Al and get into CBD and really understand that there's other holistic ways of helping people that you love. Right. So she was able to, and this is going to lead into my next question. She was able to get off pain meds and then really start utilizing Movida oils and then getting off of pain meds altogether and staying on Movida oils and just maintaining that protocol, right? So, Al, for me, like, can you explain how it is possible to get off pain meds with Movida oils?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So it's one of those things where people get scared too, because a lot of the people that I talk to they've had chronic pain for decades,
Yeah.
and then they've been taking their opioids for decades, and they're taking a lot, and they learned how to function on them, and they get, and it's almost like a partner to them,
Right.
and they get scared to lose that partner,
Right.
and it's really interesting. So you don't take them off of it and tell them, "Hey, stop doing your stuff," whatever, because they're going to have reactions to that too, like
Right.
withdrawal symptoms and all that kind of stuff too. So they have to sort of wean themselves off of that when they start taking the Feco or RSO, the Movida oils, basically. And they start with a lower amount. We'll go over like how to do the actual protocol in a bit, but they start off with a lower amount, then ramp up to what works for them, to overcome the situation, and they do that for a period of time, and throughout that process, they slowly like lower the amount that they're taking.
Right.
You know, and they're very knowledgeable too. Like because if, especially if they've been doing it for a while, they're very knowledgeable about their milligram strengths and everything. You
Yep.
know, like so they know. So they might go down 5 milligrams at a time or whatever, and then they get to a comfortable point, and then a lot of times they'll get to where they're not taking it, and then if they have a flare up or something, they might take a little bit, just for
Cool.
a little crutch, that little Linus's blanket, kind of a thing.
Right.
But they're not taking that huge amount every day, just like a little tiny dabble once in a while or something,
Right.
and just so they know it's still available, almost like a cheat meal for someone on a diet.
Right. Right. I love
But
it.
yeah, but that's basically how it goes. You sort of wean yourself off and you ramp yourself up with the um with the full extract cannabis oils, and what we call like a macro dose to overcome the situation.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Let's dive into the wellness protocol and the holistic way and approach to chronic pain.
Okay, so the medical approach, like I said, there is no success path, that they have, and it's ridiculous if you go on websites and see what their recommended protocol are for doctors, like doctor education websites. It's ridiculous what they tell them. But as far as wellness, so before the scamdemic happened,
Yeah. Yeah.
it there were more people going to alternative health practitioners. There were more office visits in the United States to alternative health practitioners than allopathic traditional medicine. It was going that way hardcore. And it sort of stopped because, and that was one of the plans for
Yeah.
the pandemic, to get people back over to that. But but people turn to that because modern medicine is not working.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
they go to the chiropractor, the naturopath, the acupuncturist, the health coach, whoever they saw on online, and or they'll try a specific diet or some supplements or yoga or a stretching routine. They try to do it on their own, and all of that can have value, but what I've found is that stuff will not work unless you include the protocols that we have, right? Not and it doesn't, like or a full extract cannabis oil protocol that's been proven to be successful. Like when you have that, then the other wellness protocols can work, and a lot of them can work very amazing, especially the ones from the chiropractor or the naturopath, or the acupuncturist and stuff. Like a lot of people, for instance, with a chiropractor, they'll go like, I went to the chiropractor. He adjusted me my thoracic vertebrae, my lumbar spine. Did my neck up, my cervical spine, and I felt great leaving the office. And then I had to turn to look to see if traffic was coming, and my neck kinked up again.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I lost it. I felt great, and then like 5 minutes later, I was back to where I was, and that's like the adjustment didn't hold, right? That's what they say. And so what happens is like there's imbalances going on, muscular imbalances, and different kinds of imbalances, and it can't hold. It's like it's just a moment in time for that adjustment, but the nutritional aspects aren't there to support it,
Love
right?
that.
And that's what the cannabinoids are, and the rest of the plant material as well. That's inside the full extract cannabis oil. The flavonoids, terpenes, isoflavones, and the thousands of other phytonutrients. But the cannabinoids, you have an endocannabinoid system that needs to be fed with cannabinoids in order for your body to operate at the most optimal levels. And chiropractic, especially, and acupuncture, they deal with meridians and deal directly with the spine and with the nervous system, and so does the endocannabinoid system. It's responsible for balancing your
All
nervous
of that.
system.
So that was
You
my
know,
next question. Yeah, how does Movida fit in with this new wellness protocol if someone's trying to change over that new leaf and do things holistically? Where does Movida oils fit in?
yeah. So let me just finish off with this real
Yeah.
quick. So the point of that was I said it once, but I just want to make sure that it cements in people's minds that the wellness approaches are awesome. I'm a holistic wellness practitioner. I have been since 1987. So I 100%, 1,000,000% believe in that, right? But it's all for naught if you don't have something like this, and it's very simple. You don't have to go to another practitioner to do the protocol. The protocols, the ones we have are free. You just if, as long as you're getting our stuff, what we give you the protocols for free on how to take it, even show you how to adjust it up or down if you need to. But we do that alongside your wellness practitioners, guidance, or your yoga, your stretching, your diet, your supplements. As long as they're good, you're going to get way better benefits from them, or benefits at all. Where you wouldn't have, that wouldn't have been able to be had if you didn't have the Feco. So the Feco, the full extract cannabis oil, the Movida oils, they are the missing link to optimal health. And they were taken away on purpose for that reason.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, let me answer this. Let's say a doctor's watching. What would you say to any doctors watching that are no longer supporting giving out opiates, that are kind of over prescribing things that they know aren't going to help their patients anymore? What would you say to them?
So the same thing that we say to the cancer doctors, is to find a practitioner, a holistic practitioner, or a cannabis caregiver such as myself, that they could sort of work along with and that they could refer people to. So if it's for both doctors and wellness practitioners, should follow this kind of suggestion. Because the wellness practitioners, they can freely just say, hey, like go to this person, this cannabis caregiver. They have some stuff that could really help you, and it coincides with what's going on here, and I work alongside this person, and we can communicate and get you the best results possible, right? But with doctors, it's a little bit different because of the AMA, the American Medical Association. They have a lot of restrictions on them,
Mm-hmm.
so they just basically could hand a card over, say, hey, talk to this guy, or this lady, and this caregiver, and they, have, I've talked to them, and worked out different protocols, or etc. And you could trust this person, and we work together, whatever, blah blah blah. But it's more of a discreet kind of a thing, as opposed to like having flyers and posters in the waiting room, but they could do that. And there's actually, like with cancer, there's actually like a thing called the Cancer Control Society, which is basically that alternative cancer treatments, and an underground of thousands of doctors that are tired of what being told what to do and damaging their patients' health when they know there's a better way.
Right.
So we're trying to work something like that out for the chronic pain doctors and the pain clinics.
Beautiful. And yeah, I see that playing out beautifully, especially just trying to help people actually recover versus masking pain. Let's dive into chronic pain flare-ups and what that's about.
Okay, so anybody that has chronic pain knows what a flare up is. So so chronic pain could be two things. It could be constant chronic pain or intermittent chronic pain. Okay, so some people, they just wake up and they're in pain, and that pain, it could be a dull pain. Some people, it could be a 10 plus, but most of them, it's like a level 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, something that's semi bearable and they just put up with, but they just have it all the time. And then other people, it's this thing that'll flare up every now and again, and they might have it once a month, once a week, that kind of a thing. And usually, as life goes on, the flare ups become more often, and then it becomes constant. And one of the examples that people could relate to is migraines. Like most people don't have migraines every single day, not a hardcore migraine, but they'll get them and they'll know when they're coming on. Like, oh, I'm going to have a migraine. That's a flare up, basically. You're having a migraine flare up. So, so if you're taking a protocol, either whether you're in the stage where you're trying to overcome, or whether you're in you've overcome and you're in the management stage, if you have a flare up that where the pain just comes on, like it's gonna happen. It's not you're not it's not like the fantasy of you take this thing and you're never gonna have something again. Like you most likely will have a flare up. They will happen less and less often. And they'll be strange to you when they do happen, because they happen so infrequently, kind of a thing. But they still will occur here and there. And on those days, you just in order to combat them and overcome them, or minimize them, might not be able to overcome it completely, but you minimize it, the effects of it. You just take more that day. It's as simple as that. So if you're in your maintenance phase and you're doing 200 milligrams a day to maintain, the like stave off the pain and discomfort and stuff like that, and then, oh, I'm having a flare up today, I'm feeling some hardcore stuff today, when I'm not don't feel that regularly, I'm going to do a little bit more. So like, usually when you're on a maintenance phase, you do a morning and evening dose. So like, it'd be, if it's 200 milligrams, be 100 and 100, right? So if you have like a flare up at noontime, then you do extra then. You don't wait for either end of the day. So you do it at the time that the flare up happens, and the amount that you take is either half the dose, that not the daily dose, but the morning or night dose. So like the 100 milligram dose, for instance, you would either do half of that if it's a mild flare up, or if it's a hardcore flare up, then you do a full dose, another 100 milligrams.
Okay.
And some people, especially when they're overcoming, like I went through this myself, where you have like multiple flare ups throughout the day. Like I was having like 5, 6 flare ups, and you can take a a dose, like a micro dose, like the half dose or a full dose, each one of those times. It's okay to do that. And the amount of the flare ups, if you're having multiple during the day, you'll get to where you're only having like one, and then you'll get to where they're not happening every day, and then they're happening once a week, once a month, and then, wow, what's this pain? I'm not used to that. It literally gets to that. It takes time. It's a thoughtful process, but that's what happened. But flare ups, it's important to know how to deal with those when they do happen, and understand what they are too.
Yes, yes. You went into being consistent. Let's talk about the importance of the healing protocol and someone that wants to take responsibility for their health.
All right. So yeah, there's not a lot of education on like how to overcome a condition. And that's one of the things that I basically spent, you know, most of my adult life working on, with and without CBD, even before, we had cannabinoids and THC and CBD in my fit life. I was helping people overcome and manage conditions, from cancer on down, nutritionally, without medications, so I've learned how to overcome and manage conditions. And when the CBD and THC came in, I was able to implement them and understand what they were because of the endocannabinoid system, learning what it is and what it does. And then, I had been doing case studies already on people, hundreds and thousands of case studies. So I just did them with the CBD and THC and other cannabinoids and the full extract cannabis oils, and was able to get, figure out stuff. But, and then just add the cannabinoids into our protocols, like that are designed to help people overcome, and it just like blew the doors off everything. It literally was the missing link, because before, like for something like chronic pain or fibromyalgia, for instance. Like fibromyalgia, you're not supposed to be able to overcome that. I was able to help people to overcome it, but you had to be so like 110% on point with every part of your diet and supplementation that if you sneezed wrong, then it was coming back. Like, and it's not that way when we put in the CBD and the full extract cannabis oils. It like you were able to, like, people are able to not have to be as hardcore. They could be like 90%, 80% on their diet, and still get like crazy awesome results, sometimes even better results.
Right.
It's super, super dope. So that being said, most people that come in, they obviously, even doctors don't know how to, like healing protocols, and practitioners, they don't understand them because they went to school and they were taught the wrong stuff. It's not really their fault. They just weren't taught the right stuff,
Yeah.
So there's three like little scenarios that I've developed, little buckets that people usually fall into. Is the no results, the some results, and the life changing results. They're all doing a protocol. Even if it's a bad protocol, it's still a protocol, right? So some people will come in, and these are the people that are, a lot of times, they're skeptical, and and they're really tied to their doctors. They love their doctors. So some people just do. They love medicine. They love taking medication. They love. Some people even love getting surgery. That's really weird. But these people that generally get no results, they're the ones that want to dip their toe in the water and not really take it seriously, and they take a little bit, and they don't really see results, or they might even see a little bit of results, but they don't stick with it. They're not like what I call patient persistent and consistent with their efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not doing the morning and evening routine. They'll remember the morning routine, but they'll forget that nighttime one, and they'll skip a day here or there. So those results are sort of intermittent, and it's like, I'm not getting any lasting results. You're not going to get them doing that, being haphazard with your approach. So they don't have any lasting results, and they just sort of get bored with it, and they just fall off,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're generally taking like 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams per day, and which is enough to see some results, but it's not enough to overcome hardcore chronic pain, especially if you've had it for decades, and especially if you're on opioids and stuff like that. Like, doing 50 to 100 milligrams isn't enough. Okay. So I call that a 1-star scenario,
Yeah.
right? Those are 1-star clients, and then the results they got are 1-star. Not that they're 1-star
Right.
people.
Right. Right.
The results they got are 1-star. So the people that get some results, they're in a little bit better of a situation, and also a better situation because they had a little bit better of a mindset, but also their biology just reacts to the stuff better, because certain people need more, some people need a lot more, but some people need a lot less.
Right.
And so those people, they sometimes get stuck with this, what I call this 3-star approach, and they'll take some, they see moderate results, and they stay there, right? So if they, and they didn't, they see really good results, but not enough to overcome, but they stay there because they're happy, just because they haven't been able to find any results before, and now they're getting they're getting some to where they could actually participate in life again. Like, I'm good with that. I'm just going to stay there, and they stick with it for a while, and like, oh my god, I love your company and all this kind of stuff, but something happens, life happens, and just like with any kind of diet or whatever, you stop eating as well as you were, like you stop
Right.
taking your supplements, and they just fall off, you know, and then their stuff comes back, and they get this amnesia almost, and they forget that there was this one thing that helped them,
Yeah.
and they just start, because the pain doesn't always come back all at once. It sort of creeps in, and you just start dealing with it again. And you dealt with it before, and your brain just sort of goes back into that survival mode again, and you start dealing with it again, and they don't come back to it. Some do, but a majority don't. It's really, really interesting. But they generally will be taken like slightly more, like 100 to 200 milligrams, because they felt good, and they did a little bit more, but they didn't want to do more than that because they have some kind of a mental block against it. Either they just feel that they know how much they should take,
Mm-hmm.
because they read it on the internet or something,
Right.
or this they're used to medications where you want to take the minimal effective dose, to get the best results, and because there's so many side effects with the
Right.
medications. But that's not the case with the CBD or full extract cannabis oils. We like to say there's no side effects, only side benefits, right?
Right.
So you need to do these full frontal assaults, what I call macrodosing, to overcome. So these people never get there, and they either stay. Some people will stay there forever, and that's fine. Like they're getting relief, and that's cool. They're not having to suffer greatly through life, or they just suffer a little bit. That's way better than the 1 star. But if they fall off, that's no good, because they'll go back over to the 1 star.
Right.
So that's the only thing. There are several people that are in our company that are living that 3 star life right now, and they're totally fine with it. Just I just hope they don't fall off.
Right.
And they run the risk of it. The one that's awesome, the one that I'm living, and the your mom's living, and all that kind of stuff, which because that's super cool. Because her mom, was skeptical. Her mom was believing in the doctors, and they were telling her CBD was bad, and all this kind of stuff. And it can kill you. They were telling her so much stuff
Yeah.
that about it being so bad, to where she finally was just like, she was getting more and more addicted, and like kind of a thing, for lack of a better term, more dependent on that stuff,
Right.
with not seeing the results, and fed up with like everything nothing they're telling me, like I'm not getting better, and they literally told her she's gonna die. Like, you're going into a wheelchair and you're gonna die. Like that was what they were telling her. So she finally said screw it,
Right.
and started taking it, and then she got the results. Like if you start taking it and taking enough of it, you can't deny the results. That's why I brought that up again. As
Yeah.
so you do the protocol, and you're gonna feel it. That's it. It just works. It's not. It's like the 21-day reset and stuff. Like, oh my god, this happened. Like, that's because it works. Your body functions a certain way, and if you give certain things to it so it can function that way, then it'll function that way.
Exactly.
It's so simple. Not always easy, but so simple. So these 5 star people, they take some, they see a little bit of results, just like the 3 star people, right? The 3 star result people, but they ask some questions and say, "Hey, I'm feeling pretty good. How can I get a little bit more results, than this? I think I might like that,
Yeah.
So, we hook them up with the protocol, and with the that ramps up, that we'll show you in a second, and they go through that, and they're able to find success and then maintain that success,
Yeah.
and it's super super awesome, and it's literally life changing for them.
Yeah.
you know like the guy that we mentioned, Bob, at the first case study that we mentioned. He was so much pain, miserable, depressed. If he did go out, it was with the boys to the bar, like and drinking, smoking, eating bad, just like joking about how bad they're eating, all that kind of stuff. Today, like over 3 years, alcohol free, and no more cigarettes, eating super awesome, and taking like some super awesome, like whole food supplements, including the Feco. It's just like his whole life, his whole persona, his whole being, who he is different today than what it was in 2019.
It's
It's so super cool. And the missing link is the Movida oils, the full extract cannabis oil. you know so I have, like, the reason I didn't write down the milligram strength here is because I have it here, right? There's a
yes.
whole protocol that did you want me to describe the
Yeah, I was
protocol?
going to ask what the dosing strategy was. Go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah. So this is basically the dosing strategy, for overcoming and managing a condition. And what we're talking about today is specifically chronic pain. So the milligram strength is going to be for chronic pain. They're like, might be different for cancer, and they're definitely different for cancer. They're definitely different for something like anxiety, stress, or depression. And today's is chronic pain.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have what's called there's three different parts to it: a priming, a loading, and then a maintenance phase. Okay, so the priming is where you sort of get your body to get used to the cannabinoids, the CBD, especially if you're taking the high THC version. Then you want to get used to the how your body reacts to the high and get used to getting high and how that feels and all that kind of stuff, so you don't go into panic attacks or whatever can happen to people. So we call that the priming phase, and that's that line going up there. And you start off like sort of small, like at 50 grams per 50 milligrams per day, not 50 grams, 50 milligrams per day. And 25 in the morning, 25 at night. And after a few days, you move it to 100 milligrams per day, and then 200 milligrams and 400, and you get to where the desired effect is, that you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and that is sort of on a person by person basis. So it's not like medication where I want you to go up to this specific thing and stay there for this, and then like as you mentioned earlier, certain people that react better, and some people are outliers that require more,
Right.
right? So there's some people they'll when they hit the 400 milligrams stage, they're like, I feel pretty good here. I think I'm good. So like then they'll just stay there. But some people, when they hit that 400 milligram stage, they're like, I feel really good, but I still think I could do a little bit better. And they usually go 500, 600 milligrams, and and they're generally good. 400 to 600 milligrams is that sweet spot for chronic pain. There are some people that do more, that will do the gram. Some of them, they need it.
Right.
They weren't feeling the full relief, and because you'll know it's very intuitive. The cannabinoids are very intuitive, because you have a system that endocannabinoid system, so it's very intuitive, and you'll know. But so some people, like, they need more, but some people, they just want to get results quicker, and they've heard of this Rick Simpson protocol, that's the gram a day, and they want to do that. And that being said, if you do take more, you'll get results quicker. Okay. Some people, if you do less, if somebody needs 400 milligrams or 600 milligrams to overcome a condition, and they do 100, they're never going to overcome that condition. They're going to be sort of like yo-yoing in this little tiny area here.
Okay.
And it's this little modulation that could potentially even make you worse, right? Make the overall levels of pain worse. I've seen that happen. But if they take enough, and this is like over thousands of case studies, right? If they take enough, then they're able to overcome the situation, and make that level 10 pain go down to like a 3, 2, 1, and sometimes even a 0, right? And maintain that over time. And they do that dose for a period of time, and it's usually about like 6 to 12 weeks. There's a little that center column there.
Yeah.
They'll do it for 6 to 12 weeks, and then after that, they'll um, they'll go into maintenance phase. So the what you call it, especially if you're doing like the 600 to 1,000, 600 milligrams plus, you might not want to be doing that every day. And number one, it costs, there's a cost
Right.
factor, but then, you might be doing more than 2 doses. You might be doing 3 doses or whatever, because you're doing so much, and you want to lower it down to 2 doses. Most people that are able to taper down into what I call a maintenance phase to maintain the results they got from that loading phase, from overcoming the situation. So that generally, the about 80% of people will do about 200 milligrams. About 5% can get away with 100 milligrams, and other people, they're doing like 300, 400 milligrams a day. And then there's like 5% or so that have to do like 600 milligrams plus to maintain the results,
Right.
right? But so that's also has to do with their biology and things like that. So that, but the point is that they can overcome and maintain results, and by doing that priming, loading, and going into the maintenance. It's something I sort of developed over the years, because I because it just giving people something like the general practitioners do, and even other wellness practitioners, to just to have to stave off stuff a little bit, and it's going to get worse, and it's not going to work down the road. I wasn't good with that. So when we discovered this, it was like it blew the doors
Mm.
open on our community, and help, where people are actually able to like I could participate in life again. Like I don't have to like wonder or worry if somebody asked me to go do something. I could just, if I want to do it, I could go do it. I don't have to say like, how do I feel today? Did I bring my stuff with me? Did
Mm.
I, like, all these different things that
Right.
run through your head. And if you are in that situation right now, and you have chronic pain, you understand what I'm talking about,
Yes.
because I've been there.
Yes.
Does
Yeah.
that make
It
sense?
makes
The
perfect
loading,
sense. It
the
makes
priming
perfect
loading phase.
sense. And it really feels, to go from being in chronic pain and miserable and just hiding out every day to taking control of your life again and being able to live in a day to day basis of being pain free. Like, what a shift. Like, I can only imagine, for someone to go from I'm just used to pain to waking up like, wait, something's missing. Oh, yeah, my pain. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
It's like, it's
sure.
kind of like that momentum forward. If
Yeah, so I
Yeah, go
want to
ahead.
really quick
Yeah,
talk about an example of that. We mentioned Yani before because she had cancer, and she worked at Apple computers and
right.
got cancer working on the mainframes, and she had developed crazy amounts of pain because she had surgeries and she had all the ghost pains from from the surgeries and all kinds of stuff to remove all the different stuff they did to her, through medical. And she was a cannabis caregiver when I met her, and she was taking the cannabinoids alongside medications, and she was taking like 42 different medications, and she was in crazy amounts of pain. And she was, like I had mentioned in the cancer video or episode, that she was able to come off all of those medications, but the pain medication was the one that was the one of the hardest things. And what she did was she took a certain amount, like the 50 milligram, 100 milligrams, 200 milligram, and it took her to get to 600 milligrams per day. And I remember she called me up and said, "Hey, I just took 600 milligrams and I'm in no pain. I'm going to do that again
Mm,
tomorrow," and blah, blah, blah. And like, so this is like years and years and years ago. So she's one of the first people that helped me develop this chronic pain protocol, from her feedback, because she was a cannabis caregiver and she understood a bunch of things, and she had worked with me, for a period of time, helping other people at that
right.
by that point, But yeah, so she's a good example of that. 200, 300, 400, she was still having considerable pain, but when she hit 600, gone. And then she just did that for a period of time, and then she was able to reduce that, about, like, probably, I think it took her about 6 months to a year, but she was able to reduce down into a maintenance phase afterwards.
And
So
it's
that was
beautiful
really
because
cool.
you can't overdose. You know what I mean? So it really allows you to test out and see where your body is like at that optimal level of no pain, which I think is a beautiful thing. So yeah, and just side note too is Al also went above and beyond and helped my mom to figure out her dosage and even did a video for her to kind of explain the protocol so that she can be consistent, and she has stayed consistent for years. So yes, Al, excellent work, excellent work.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of that, like, you can't overdose. Is like, I remember another guy that was he's a chronic pain guy as well. Steve in Long Beach.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
him, and I remember because he was another what person. He was taking minimal amounts, and then when I told him take macro dose, because he's used to he does psilocybin, so he's used to microdosing,
Right.
and so he's on macro dose. I'm on macro dose, like, and he's like, oh, okay, blah blah blah, and he was able to overcome his situation that way. But when you had said, like, about how you can't overdose, I told him about, gave him some examples, and I told him, like,
Right.
this person, they just started and they're taking all this stuff and blah blah blah, and they're taking like 800 milligrams, and he looked at me and he goes, and I thought he was going to say, "Wow, aren't they going to whatever, blah blah," but he goes, "Man, they must be feeling awesome. You know, like because you can't feel you can't like I guess not. Aren't they going to get some bad reaction? Like
Right.
no,
Nope.
you feel awesome.
Right.
If, and if you take more, you feel awesome. You know, like it's
Right.
it's just one of those things.
I love
It's
it.
really cool.
It's so good. It's so good. Al, can we jump into uh, one, how Movida oils will help the viewer watching, but also if you could explain Movida oils and its perfect unison with the endocannabinoid system. Yeah, so please.
Okay, so how Movida oils and full extract cannabis oils helps people
Right.
to overcome chronic pain. Uh, there's a couple different ways that happens. There's the pain relief, and the anti-inflammatory effects. So the analgesic effect, which is basically pain relief. Um, but it doesn't mask. Remember, but it does relieve pain and almost instantly, and it can do that through the oils that you ingest orally and also through
Right.
topicals. Like we have one called Move It, but it has the RSO in there, and then two other kinds of CBD, and they're a distillate and an isolate, and then plus some other herbs and things that are also awesome. So you could also do those during flare ups as well, those topicals, because you have receptors all over your body, endocannabinoid or cannabinoid receptors all over your body, and so it works at point of contact. The topicals do. That's why they work so well. That the cannabinoid topicals like THC or CBD topicals,
Yeah.
because you have the endocannabinoid receptors all over your skin, your third dermal layer down. So there's the pain relief and anti-inflammatory effects that people associate it with most commonly. But the other thing that it does, and one of the ways that it could help you to actually heal over time, is by reducing or eliminating the calcification and crystallization that develops in your body through having constant inflammation. So the constant inflammation, that it causes like those are hot zones in your body, and it inhibits certain functions, and your body doesn't want yourself to move those areas because there's pain there as much. So certain things will start to harden, and then if you're not getting proper nutrition, especially, you'll start to develop things like calcification and crystallization in the joints and in the muscle. So, and in muscle, it's like this muscle pain that happens, and and you can't stretch properly, and a bunch of other things like that. You get super tight, and in the joints, it's ligament and tendon kind of stuff, and you get calcification and crystallization there, and there's tons of nerve endings, in your joints, and especially with the ligaments and tendons. So you there, and it's literally like crystals, like crystals, and if those touch those nerve endings, then there's hardcore pain. So and that's what a lot of people's pain is the calcification and crystallization that's formed in their bodies,
Yeah.
and there's certain things that can help reduce that. The cannabinoids, especially the CBD, um, helps with that immensely, and MSM, methylsulfonylmethane, and those two together are just synergists. They
Yeah.
work so much better together, and they help to reduce that and eliminate it. It dissipates into your system, and then it gets eliminated through waste, and that's how we say that the condition isn't there anymore, and how the pain eventually can go away, and you don't have that condition anymore.
Right.
If you stop taking the stuff, then that calcification and crystallization will reform, and the issue will come back. So that's why you have to have a maintenance phase to where we say we maintain the results.
Right.
That's to prevent the calcification and crystallization coming back in the muscle or in the joint. And the same thing here, like with migraines, that's calcification and crystallization in your head, literally. And it gets triggered, and you feel it coming on. People with migraines, they know. I had them. I still have them every once in a while. I used to have them daily when I was going with my eyesight stuff, and I'll have them like once every other month now, kind of a thing. And if,
Gotcha.
when they happen, it really sucks. But I was having, earlier on in life, I was having them like 2 or 3 times a week. But when I was, in my detrimental stage, I was having them every day, and I just couldn't function in life. And so I experienced the stuff too. How incredible this is to changing your life and actually allowing you to participate. Like I couldn't do an episode like this
Right.
before. I couldn't even wear a baseball cap because it would hurt. It would trigger a migraine. It was ridiculous. So the other way, and this is the key that for everything right here is that your endocannabinoid system and cannabinoids themselves, including THC, CBD, CBC, CBG, CBN, the 113 plus cannabinoids that exist, they're responsible in your body. Your endocannabinoid system is responsible in your body for gene expression. That's how your endocannabinoid system actually balances your body. It balances all the systems in your body, and it does it on a cellular basis through gene expression. And in a nerve cell, which is off to the right here, the I don't know if you can see that, but off to the right, you see this nerve cell. Neuromodulation is how the cannabinoids communicate with that nerve cell, so it functions properly in your body. Okay, and so gene expression is basically telling your cell what to do, giving it the instructions on how to function. So we've heard of DNA before, right? Especially in today's world,
Right.
you've heard of DNA, and it's basically the instructions for your whole body to work, the whole of your body. Every single part of it, from your heart to your brain to your muscles, everything. And the gene expression is actually giving your heart cell the instructions on how to perform as a heart cell. Because if you took any science classes ever, you probably learned that your cell carries each and every one of your cells, no matter where it's at in your body, carries all of your DNA, all of the instructions for your body. So that just think of that as a library. So your DNA is a vast library
Right.
of instructions. So you see, this is like just one of the aisles with all these vast books of instructions, right? And that's basically your DNA.
Right.
And the librarian is the cannabinoid, or like the CBD or the endocannabinoid system. Okay, and so like with the heart cell, it goes over and it pulls the heart cell thing. With the nervous system, it pulls out the nerve cell instruction material and gives it to the nerve cell and says, here, this is how you are supposed to function to make this body that you're in function properly.
Right.
Okay, so um that's basically that. So as gene expression is the instructions, and neuromodulation is the term for those instructions that are given to the nerve cell. So you have here that your brain and your spine, which is your central nervous system. Okay, so the brain is the first component, and it sends out signals to your spine, and which is the second component of your central nervous system. And then the yellow part is like what innervates your trunk and your limbs, which is what's called your peripheral nervous system. Okay, so the spine sends signals to your peripheral nervous system on how it's supposed to function. So your organs, your muscle, like your trunk, your arms, your fingertips, your toes, everything, get those instructions from your peripheral nervous system. So and your nerve cells, have to have the instructions that are given to it from the endocannabinoid system in order to function properly. If they don't have that, then if there's any kind of damage that happens along the way, like if you could malfunction just normally,
Right.
and that's where they say like unknown origin pain comes from, and a lot of people have that. But especially if you have any kind of injury, which if you're living, you're going to have one sometime or another,
Yeah.
right? Then it could cause like a traffic jam, because there's a nervous pathway that happens. These signals that go from your brain to your central nervous system to your peripheral nervous system, let's say down to your fingertips. And if there's any kind of a blockage that happens through an injury or just something nutritionally or whatever, then those signals get crossed,
Right.
and signal that goes down to your fingertips or your wrist or your elbow or whatever, um, aren't proper. You're not getting the proper feedback, either going down or going up. Going from your brain to central nervous system to peripherals, called down regulation, and from the other way around, peripheral to central nervous system to brain is up regulation. But I just think of it as a super highway going in two directions, right? And if there's a blockage going in either directions, there's going to be a traffic jam, and that's where pain's going to come in, wherever that traffic jam is. And that traffic jam happens because they're not getting the proper instructions. Like there might be a traffic signal there that's broken, right? So they're not getting those proper instructions because they don't have the cannabinoids in them to give them those instructions, right? So when you
Yeah.
feed your body with those cannabinoids, it can give the nerve cells their instructions through that neuromodulation. That traffic jam can get cleared up, and miraculously, you don't have pain anymore.
It's
And
funny.
that
Go ahead.
and that's why sometimes people with like decades of pain can sometimes take something, and if they're the type that gets that can feel the stuff like just 30 minutes after taking their first dose, like they could literally get rid of pain and keep it off by continuing to take it, that they've had for like 20-30 years with one dose, because they just
Right.
cleared up a traffic jam. And that's all that was bothering them their whole entire time.
I love it. All I was going to
It's great.
say was I learn something new every time we do these videos. So this was explained perfectly. Please continue.
Yeah, so that's a huge factor in health and healing, just period. And you can see, like if your heart. So just real quick, like a little health, or quote unquote science, and little education. Like all your cells are basically, like new cells are created in your bone marrow, and there's actually cannabinoid receptors in your bone marrow as well. They're everywhere in your organs, everywhere, but all your cells are made there, and they're
Mm,
all the same. So all the cells are exactly the same in your body. Your brain cell, your heart cell, and your muscle cell, they're exactly the same. They're transported to where they need to go. Whenever okay, Al needs a heart cell, Megan needs a liver cell,
right.
so they transport cells over there, and then they become a liver cell once they're dropped off there. Basically,
Okay.
it's an oversimplification, but
Sure.
you get the picture, right? So, and then through gene expression, through giving them their instructions, they become that heart cell or they become that muscle cell, but they're all the same.
Gotcha.
That is doing different work inside of that cell
Gotcha.
to become a muscle cell, heart cell, liver cell, kidney cell, whatever. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And the
Okay.
cannabinoids then help it in the process of doing that.
Yeah, and that's why the cannabis, and that's why it helps so many different conditions, because it's just so many different areas in your body aren't getting those instructions, and then now
Gotcha.
they are, so it helps that.
Gotcha.
So, and that's why I say that so many quote unquote diseases and conditions aren't really conditions; they're just symptoms of an endocannabinoid or a cannabinoid deficiency.
Gotcha. Understood.
So that being said, let's go over to the endocannabinoid system, because you had just asked about that,
Yep.
right? And how the oils and Movida oils relate to that.
Yes.
So you have the an endocannabinoid system in your body that needs to be fed with cannabinoids in order for your body to run at the utmost optimal levels. Without it, you won't. So no matter, some people, they think like, oh, I'm on it. I'm alpha male, alpha female, whatever, these days, and I just go for everything, and I'm on fire. I'm better than that guy, that girl, and whatever.
Right.
I got it going on. Even that person, if they're not taking this stuff, you take this stuff, you'll be performing way better.
Yeah.
You'll be even more on fire.
Right.
And it's because, like, you don't know what you don't know, kind of a thing. If you don't know what you're missing, you don't know that you're missing it.
Right.
If you've never experienced it before. So like, people think they know what true health is, but some have never really truly experienced it, because they think it's just not being sick, and that's just like a small part of it.
Right.
You know. So you have this endocannabinoid system that's responsible for balancing all these other systems in your body. And then there's also, like we said, that like little analgesic effects and anti-inflammatory effects that it has, for different things, and even things like for, you know, um, appetite suppression in certain instances, letting you have an appetite in other instances. But again, at the end of the day, that's just allowing all the other systems in your body to function the way they're supposed to enable you to have that. So like sometimes people with cancer or something and people with hardcore chronic pain, they don't want to eat just because they're suffering so much. So it helps those people eat. Some people they don't they overeat because they don't have these signals for satiety.
Right.
You know that there's these primal things that happen. You know if when you when you have enough nutrition in your body to stop eating. You know, and if you don't have that, then you'll always be hungry because you're not nutritionally satisfying your body. So, and the endocannabinoids are something that helps to satisfy that little system. You know, so it helps you to not be hungry if you're not. It's really cool, and it helps with so many different things. You know, like the central nervous system is the number one thing though that's mentioned here, right?
Yeah.
You know, and because it's responsible for so much of the health of your body, just like the endocannabinoid system is. You know, because it helps you to walk, talk, every function, like moving, everything is because of your nervous system. You know, and the signals that relay back and forth. So you could see, in order for me to even do this, and talk and move my mouth up and down, and do all that kind of stuff, there's signals that go back and forth, that up regulation, down regulation, that super highway going, and it happens in milliseconds.
Right.
Right. So having traffic jams is a hardcore thing, because things are going a million miles per hour. So things can get backed up and it get compounded very quickly,
right.
and puts you into worlds of hurt.
Yeah.
But that's why doing the cannabinoids, when it starts to help things, it helps this thing, helps this other thing, like it helps you to get out of pain. Then all of a sudden you're not as depressed because you're not in pain all the time, and then you're not depressed and worried all the time, so you're not having as much anxiety. Like all these so all these good things start to happen, and that's what I call like a beneficial domino effect, or an upward spiral.
Right.
Like it doesn't always have to be a bad stuff that happens along that way. It could be this good, this onslaught of things that start happening, and just snowballing, because you're just doing these beneficial things for yourself, and that's how you're actually supposed to be.
Right.
People like I was talking to somebody yesterday about it, because they were actually experiencing the results, and he's 58 years old, and he was saying, I actually feel better today than I did in high school. I can't remember ever feeling as good as I do right now. Like actually, like the way I feel, not just like I'm physically capable of this or whatever, but actually just my being feeling good. Like my body feels good, but my whole entire being feels good.
Yes.
And that's what's possible.
Yes.
And that's what health is.
Exactly. Do we have time for another case study for chronic pain?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I have I was just going through my phone, and I found this picture, and it's really cool, and it's cool that it came up. I actually found it yesterday, but it's cool that it came up around this time that we're doing this episode, because this gentleman, he's another Long Beach fellow. Movida originated in Long Beach, and I was doing a presentation at a yoga studio, Yogalution, in Long Beach, California, and him and his wife were sitting in the audience, and I'm not sure if he won, because we do raffles and stuff at our presentation. So I'm not sure if he won something or if he bought something, because we give discounts and stuff for the participants or whatever. But he bought some stuff or got some stuff and started taking it, and like right away he ordered more bottles. And I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And his wife started like talking to me, and she got her mom on it, so she started talking to me all the time.
Right.
She's like she's she's that way, and so she started telling me about her husband, and because he's like was loner guy, like he's the chronic pain guy, suffering
Right.
all the time, and just wanted to be by himself. Don't bother me, turned into the grumpy guy, and everything like that, and miserable to be around, all that kind of stuff. He'll even tell you, and so turns out he was taking 80 milligrams of oxycodone, I think it was
Mm-hmm.
oxycontin or oxycodone, one of those ones, and I think it was oxycodone. And 80 milligrams is a lot, okay? But he had been taking it for almost 30 years, so he developed a great tolerance for it, and he learned how to function on it, and he was one of those people where that it became part of his family. Like I
Right.
can imagine life without it, kind of. And
Correct.
but he was still in great pain. He wasn't able to. He was almost bedridden. Like he'd have to get psyched up, and if just going to the store, that was the event for the day, kind of a thing. And it would blow him out. He'd suffer for a couple of days afterwards greatly compared to just the regular suffering, all that kind of stuff. Started taking the CBD and the high CBD Feco, and he was getting better and better results. Put him on a protocol, and he went from 80 milligrams down to like he was able to cut it in half, 40 milligrams and 20 milligrams, 10 milligrams. He got down to 5 milligrams, and at this point, he wasn't even really talking to me either. He was just ordering online. I would see his orders go through, and I was like, well, it must be still be working for him.
Right.
But I didn't know that he was having this success. And
Right.
finally, I was doing a Zoom call with his wife, and he came into the room, and he's like, hey, blah blah blah, and I found out like, and by this point, he was down to taking 0 milligrams per
Wow.
day of the oxycodone, doing his maintenance phase, which is I believe he's somewhere or 200 or 400 milligrams, whatever it is per day that he does. I think it's 200 milligrams that he takes every day of the CBD Feco, and he's off of it. And if he does have a flare up, then he'll do a little bit more of the CBD Feco, but he'll do like 5 milligrams of the
Okay.
oxycodone, just as like the Linus blanket kind of thing, the little
Right.
crutch, and he's good. But instead of taking 80 milligrams every day, he's doing 5 milligrams maybe once a month, 12 times a year instead of 365, of 80,
Yes.
like his whole dose, yearly usage isn't even one day's dosage anymore, So that's
Yeah.
incredible. And what he's showing here is, I had sent them over some water bottles of our stuff. It has like the Move It CBD Sport Gel on there that I mentioned earlier. It's engraved on there, and he's showing not just that he received the deal, but he's showing like the sawhorse there with his power tools, and he's repairing the fence. Like he hadn't been able to work on his yard, mend the fence, in like over 2 decades. He had to
Wow.
call people. I mean, you can see he's a hardcore guy. Like he's a man, and it hurt him. Like it
Right.
makes like shit. It it's a big deal.
Right.
Like for him to be able to do that, and be out in the public again and working and enjoying life, participating. That's what's possible. You know.
Yeah. Perfect. And for those watching that, you can have that too. You know what I mean? Like it's not just pain management and misery and depression and living alone anymore. You know what I mean? There's other avenues, and this is one of them.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it's so super cool.
Yeah. 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 Al, I also found out, again, you have a couple of older videos, one CBD and neuropathy and how it helps, as well as CBD 101 and how to overcome and manage chronic pain with CBD. And these are about a year old, but I do highly suggest anyone that's interested in getting more information about this to check those out. We'll put them in a link below. And I highly encourage you to do more research. Al has hundreds of videos on My Fit Life on YouTube. So yeah, Al, how do we get in touch with you? That's everything on my end.
Right on. Yeah, yeah. Definitely. So yeah, we do have over 300 videos on youtube.com/myfitlife. youtube.com/myfitlife. And you could, reach us. You can set up a consultation by emailing support@myfitlife.net, or we have a consultation tab on the website at myfitlife.net where you could schedule a call at your convenience. And like 99% of the time, it's going to be me, that it helps you out. And if not, it's, a cannabis caregiver that's, taken our stuff and has overcome a situation and helps people every day on a daily basis with your specific situation. Okay. So is there anything else?
That's everything on my end.
All righty. Awesome. So that concludes this episode of Cannabis Friends and 420 Buds. Be sure to leave any questions or comments below and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy this type of content. Remember to reach out to support at myfitlife.net or schedule a complimentary call if you have questions about RSO or Feco, how to take it, or where to get it. This is Al Marenton.
And I'm Megan Hall.
And we are the hosts of Cannabis Friends and 420 Buds. I hope you have a beautiful day. Peace.